Wow. Just wow. Hey everyone, welcome back to Thrilled by the Horror. On today's episode, we will be doing a review on the brand new horror movie, Obsession. And yes, honestly, what an obsession I have on this film. In 3 days, I've seen it twice in cinemas. It is sensational. Now, as most of us know, and for the few of you who don't know, Obsession, directed by Corey Barker, is about a young man named Bear who has a crush on a girl named Nikki who is in his friendship group. Unfortunately for Bear, he does not have the confidence to ask Nikki out, and with a one-wish willow tree that he's got, he wishes that Nikki loves him more than anyone else in the world. Does he get what he wants? At the start, he does, and more. But unfortunately, very quickly, this love that he wished for does not last, and it becomes a complete and total obsession, and things become very terrifying very quickly. Now, that's as much as we're going to get into the video regarding what the actual movie shows. We're not going to talk about any spoilers. We are going to talk about production value, the acting, the sound, the lighting, stuff like that I just really enjoyed about this film. So I can make sure to convince you guys to watch this if you haven't already. Now, everyone will be talking about this film because it has been hyped up really, really well. Everyone seems to, excuse the pun, have some sort of obsession on the film. For me personally, I had a few YouTubers who'd gone to a film festival last year in 2025 who had seen this movie and just regarded it as something that felt like a classic, something that was just awesome, a simple idea with a horror kind of element and really relatable experience for the audience until obviously things go pear-shaped. But again, simple idea that works, make it into a horror film, have it relatable for the audience. It's a key to success. And honestly, that was the vibe I got whenever I heard any review, and I knew that this was going to be something that I just had to see for myself. And I ended up seeing it when it came out in cinemas because I was convinced. But I didn't know that it was going to be this good, and I would have to say I recommend this movie. It is definitely one of the best horror films I've seen in such a long time. Not only that though, it's got to be right now my 2026 movie of the year already. Now, before I get into some of the things about this movie that I really, really enjoyed, I have to say the fact that Corey Barker was a YouTuber not long ago doing do-it-yourself sketches, and now he's made a movie that's hit the big screen, that is so inspiring. And honestly, like, I really want to do something similar moving forward in my future here. I think it's just so cool what he's done, and I am so excited and interested to see what Corey Barker does with his career and future. I will be there for the entire journey. I'm backing what this guy has done. The film truly, in my opinion, doesn't really have any negatives. This is like someone this is his first film, and you can watch a film and say what you wish they had done differently, what you think they could have done better. I don't feel like I have any of those feelings towards this film. Like, I'm sure there are maybe a couple very, very minor cons, but as far as I'm concerned, they just do not exist. Straight off the bat, what I really enjoyed about this film was the jump scares. There's a lot of jump scares in films that fill you with tension and there's suspense, and you know that something is leading towards a terrible jump scare, and you're just sitting there in your seat like, all right, come on, hit me, hurry up, like you start covering your eyes or your ears, whatever. This film does that and more. There's scenes in this movie where I knew that the tension was building. I was just waiting for that jump scare, and whenever it came, if it was too fast for me to, realize, or it was delayed until it finally came, It always hit me, and it hit me hard. But not only that, they don't just do the suspenseful kind of leading towards the expected kind of jump scare. They do plenty of jump scares where you do not know it's coming. There's scenes in this movie where I actually felt like I might be able to relax, and I was relaxed and I was calm. I was just like enjoying the movie. It was actually a little bit funny at times. And then a jump scare hit me, and I was reminded very quickly that I'm watching a horror movie, a good horror movie, a horror movie that lives up to the name of the genre that it is, because it got me every single time. And whether it was what I was seeing, or it was sound, or it was something that I didn't actually see, but it left the imagination to kind of build up what might be happening for me, it always got me, if that makes sense. I knew that something was going to happen, or I didn't, and it got me. But the jump scares in this film were sensational. I really enjoyed them, and didn't, obviously, because, jump scares are an uncomfortable feeling. But it's a horror movie. You're going to expect there to be some jump scares here and there, and they were on point. Not only that, though, obviously, yeah, jump scares, fantastic. But the lighting in this movie, or the lacking of it, it was also really enjoyable as well. There's plenty of eerie, kind of dark moments in this film where obviously it's a horror movie, so it's going to have a few different scenes and environments that are a little bit dark and shadowy. And when the main girl, Nikki, is just in the obsessed state with Bear, there are scenes where there's like no light on her, and there's a little kind of light around, the environment that she's in, but you can only see her silhouette, like her shadow, and sometimes you can see the shimmer in her eyes, and it's freaky, and you just, as the audience, you're not safe. It's a really, really intense feeling. Anytime she was on screen, it was creepy. But the lighting, they did really well, because anytime I thought I was safe or wasn't safe, it proved me wrong. This film did many things that were really, really good. But one thing I noticed, and I feel like a lot of people are going to talk about, was the acting. Specifically, Nikki's character, Indy Naravet. She was sensational and so terrifying in this role. Anytime I saw her on the big screen, or I felt like she might be there in the background on her way to coming out of nowhere, I wasn't sat up straight in my chair, or on the edge of my seat. I was sunk into my seat, just like, hoping that she was not going to come and I was going to be safe, because I was terrified. Truly, it was so chilling and freaky seeing her movements, the way she screamed whenever she got angry or upset, any emotions that she shared. It was so freaky, and you could tell that it wasn't love. She was truly obsessed with Bear, and that was such an unsettling thing to see. So her acting was so good, and I feel like Indy Naravet's role in this movie is the entire film. I think that the actor who played Bear was really good in his role, and I won't, discard anything that he did, because he was really good. But he is not the main role in this film regarding the acting. I think that the acting really comes from Indy Naravet, and I hope she gets nominated, because it was so, so good. She is so talented, so amazing, but it was so scary, and I have never been afraid of a female as much as I was when watching that film. I've now seen this film twice in the cinemas, twice in 3 days, and the first watch definitely gave me a rundown of the movie, and it was an awesome experience to actually say that I've seen it. The second watch was actually just as good, if not better, because I actually noticed a lot of the hidden details, and I'm not going to touch on those because I want you guys to find them for yourselves, or if you want, just Google them. But there are a few hidden details that I saw where I realized, yep, all right, the director definitely had something to do with that. I appreciate that as a little Easter egg, or something that I just really didn't see during my first watch, and I noticed, and I thought, that definitely has to do with a little bit of the lore in this movie, like the hidden messages. They were there, and it was really really cool to see that because when I'm watching a horror film, obviously I want the story to be not overly complicated. I want it to be simple, mixed with a horror kind of vibe, and just relatable in some way where I can just, as the audience member, sit there and go, "Oh yeah, I would do that," or like, "Yeah, I would react that way," or "Man, I would hate to go through that." Like something like that just builds on the experience that I'm having when seeing this kind of film, and that's the feelings that I got, and I really appreciated that. I think also it goes without saying that Curry Barker, for a first time director on an actual film to hit the big screen, this this is incredible. Like he did so well, and it's so inspiring to know that he went from a do-it-yourself YouTube sketch that got a million views very quickly, maybe within the first week, with Milk and Cereal. I did actually have this on my save to watch later a couple years ago, and I never got to it because I've got too many videos there. But now that is just inexcusable, and I have to watch it now, and I will be watching it very soon because Obsession is definitely a favorite horror film for me, and I have to see what this guy has done regarding his other work in his career, but also the future from here. I will be on the Curry Barker journey because I am so interested and intrigued to see what this guy does next. Now, I've spoken a little bit about how this film is relatable, and it is because obviously we've all had a crush on someone where we saw maybe a potential and we hope that this just works out. And for some of us, it works out, and obviously, a relationship. But for a lot of us, we look at someone or we know someone and we just really want to be with them. And we're not sure if it's going to work out. And for a lot of us, it just ends up being a thought and nothing more. And this film really points on that and really just lives as something that, we've all experienced. And it's nice to have that relatable kind of feeling. But what I like about this movie and what it does really well is that it is be careful what you wish for as a constant theme. Because not only does Bear get what he wishes for and more, he has everything he's ever wanted. But when he gets it, he doesn't actually necessarily know what he's got or what he potentially is gonna have via having done this wish. It goes horribly wrong for him. And sometimes it's actually interesting because people say be careful what you wish for because you might not know what you get. And if you get it, it might just come at you like tenfold. And that's what happens in this film, truly. And what's awesome to see is that during Bear's experience with Nikki in this obsessed state, minor spoiler perhaps, but not really, he does obviously become shocked and afraid of Nikki. And he realizes that this might not actually be what he wants. And low key, maybe he had enough in the first place and he didn't actually need to have this wish. It actually low key teaches him a lesson, which is so satisfying to see because we're not, as the audience, going to see that until we see that, if that makes sense. And honestly, like the fact that this movie teaches you a lesson along the way, as like when it does with Bear, so satisfying. What's really unique about this film too is the One Wish Willow Branch. And what I really appreciate is that this movie is just a normal kind of everyday feel, like nothing that is impossible happens apart from the One Wish Willow. This seems to be the only kind of piece of magic or, impossible in this movie. And that's what I liked because that makes it unique. It is kind of just like a normal kind of thing, normal kind of setting. Everything is just what can happen in the world we live in today apart from the One Wish Willow. And I'm not sure where they're going to take things in the future. Obviously, Kari Barker is really talented, and I think his potential for other projects is like without spoken for. They're going to be great. I kind of hope, as a fan of Obsession, that they don't obviously make a sequel to Obsession and they just go Obsession number two or whatever. I don't want them to, I don't even want to think about a reboot, but I would love to see some kind of prequel where they do another movie with a whole new cast and setting and concept, but they include the One Wish Willow Tree, and it's just another whole, potentially maybe be careful what you wish for kind of thing, where someone stumbles upon it, they have it in their possession, and they make a wish, and we've got a whole new movie based around the, you might have everything you need already, you don't need to wish for more. However, because you've wished for more, it's going to go completely wrong, and bam, you've got a whole new movie. I'm not sure if they're going to do that. I kind of hope they do because I would be interested to see it. Having loved Obsession already, I'm just hyped up, honestly. But I did kind of think if they were to do something where they kind of continued on this film, I would love for them to do a prequel. The budget for this film wasn't big either. It was $750,000, and obviously, like, the environments are pretty similar. Like, they seem to kind of just chop and change between the same four or five kind of environments, and they don't obviously kind of make things complicated with what's on screen. It's really just a nice kind of mellow film soundtrack that just vibes well with the film and what we're seeing. And I really appreciated that. I think with the budget, they probably achieved more than, most films that go up and beyond with a higher budget. And I kind of feel like maybe we kind of got less is more experience that just turned out to be a complete gem. Another thing that I've really got to touch on as well is the ending. Most people seem to talk about the entire film as just an all-round success, all-round kind of perfect film. And I'm in the exact same boat as those people, but the ending was so bloody satisfying. The way it happened, I kind of predicted everything to go down in that way, but they added more. And when things happen the way they did, when they did, what was added just as like an extra, like small ideas that just made the ending more satisfying for me at least. I really appreciated, I really enjoyed the way the movie ends. I don't think it's like a overly big ending. It's not like a shock value kind of ending, although on perspective it could be. At least with me and my experience, I didn't find it to be over the top, but it was done in a way where I saw it coming, but the way they went about it, they'd added a few more kind of ideas to it, and I didn't see those kind of small added extras coming into the mix that was the ending, and seeing that was just, it was a good surprise. Let's just say that. I enjoyed the ending for what it was and how they did it and when they did everything. So if you haven't already guessed, do I recommend this film? Yes. Yes. This film's awesome. Honestly, like, if you're a horror nerd like myself, you are going to watch this film and you're going to love it. And I'd kind of be really surprised if you haven't already heard about it. If you're not a scary movie kind of person, but you still want to see this film, or you're still wondering if you should, first of all, you should. I'll always advocate for people to see films like this, even if it's not your regular thing. However, maybe watch it at home in the daytime. And this hurts me to say this, but yeah, in the daytime with the remote and like the sound and pause button next to you, because it is freaky. There are truly scenes that made me kind of question my own thinking and reality. I was really glad that in that film I am currently single, funnily enough. Normally, personally, I'm someone that's like, when I like someone, I'm like, oh, I'd love to be in a relationship with them. But this made me second guess my entire process when it comes to crushing on someone. So yeah, it's definitely a powerful film, let's say that. But in terms of the target audience, I'm definitely the target audience, not just me, but anyone who loves horror, whether it's a medium or massive or small kind of love for horror thrillers, you need to see this film. Anyone that's in a relationship too, I think would be a funny kind of audience for this film. Definitely plenty of people that are in relationships would I guess, see this for a date night, and I think that would be quite funny. I recommend this movie to anyone who's interested. And if you're not interested, but you think that you should see it because you want to know what all the hype is about, what all the fuss is about, you need to see this film. I'll just recommend this movie to anyone who wants to see it, or if they're kind of questioning if they should or not. Obviously, if this is not your thing, probably don't watch it. But even then, I really think you're still going to enjoy this film. It was just a really simple film. They gave it a horror kind of vibe, worked really well with the main theme, and yeah, overall, it's just a great film. Like, I can't watch a film like this and point out its mistakes or cons because there was nothing that I saw during my experience where I just thought, oh, I would have done this, or I wish they had done that differently. I can't think that way. The entire experience that I had with this film was awesome. And again, like, I watched it twice in 3 days. I will definitely, when this movie comes out, be buying a physical copy because I need this film on disc. And even the soundtrack, like the actual soundtrack of the film, like the just the background sounds that were in each scene was just awesome. And I believe you can actually pre-purchase on vinyl. If that is the case in Australia, I'll probably have to add a vinyl of this movie to my collection because even the soundtrack of this film was just so suitable for every different scene, whether it was like, lovey, kind of dovey, romantic, or suspenseful, or kind of like a curious kind of mystery kind of vibe, or just any time there was intensity, you just knew that the film soundtrack was just there to back it the entire way, and they did a really good job on that as well. When you watch a movie like this in cinemas, you know it's good when you leave the cinema and you're rethinking your entire kind of world and your perception of relationships, and you're leaving the cinema with a little bit of anxiety. Like, when a film does that to you, I think it's achieved its goal. This movie is called Obsession with the title. That's what the movie's about. It works. The movie scares you on purpose and it makes you question things. I think it does a really good job. And it is my knowledge as well that Curry Barker wanted you to kind of leave the film questioning, your ideas on things like this, where, like, relationships with forced love isn't love, and that is more like obsession and an unhealthy relationship, and, kind of leaving the cinema with anxiety, kind of thinking like, oh my God, like, I can't separate the art form that was that film and my own world that's around me right now. Like, that was so scary. And, kind of thinking like, was it love initially, or was it just obsession the entire time? You can debate things. And with the ending, I think it really supports that debate. So definitely really powerful film. And yeah, when you watch a horror film, you want to feel terrified. You want to feel scared. They achieve that. Full fold. They achieve that. It's nothing in this movie made me go, all right, like, come on, hurry up. Like, the entire pace that this movie had was perfect. If I was watching this movie at home, I would not jump on my phone and just quickly glance at social media or play an app or whatever. Normally in a film, I currently still kind of do that if I've seen something or I'm watching something and it's a little bit maybe, too much dialogue and not enough happening for me and I'm starting to lose interest. With this film, I can confirm there was none of that. I was watching this film and just along the entire journey and progression of this film, I was just there for it. And they keep your interest by flipping to the next scene, and throughout every scene that you're seeing, it gives you enough information and relevant info that you just need to kind of progress to the next scene. There's no overwhelmingly complicated details. There's no, backstory or lore that you've got to know previous. Like, you just watch this film and you just know that you're there. You watch it, you're not bored. It's just the entire pace is perfect. My overall ranking for this film, it was tricky. Normally, when I rank a film when doing a review, it's from one to this was a mistake of a film. I wish I didn't see this. I wish they didn't make it. It shouldn't exist. And then five is kind of like, look, whether it's overwhelmingly perfect and I'm just crazy obsessed, I have an obsession with this film, or it's just this film's kind of for what it is, it's kind of just perfect. Like, I don't think they could have made it better. That's five. This film was really hard to rank because I want to say it is a five, and perhaps it will be. I think that right now I'm kind of back and forth between a 4.8 or 4.9 and a five. I know that's kind of a bit ridiculous because it's really close. Could they have made this film better? I'm sure they could have. I'm not sure how they would have done that because this film is truly, like, if I haven't already said enough already, it's truly just perfect. It's an amazing story and just so relatable. The idea is so simple. It's just everything you want it to be. I think as much as I am always unsure about, overall numbers, I think I have to give this a five because I wouldn't change anything for the world. This film is just everything it needs to be and more. Not only that, but if my review doesn't give you enough confidence, go and check out any other person's review. Everyone is talking about this film. They are loving this film. It's all over social media. It's all over YouTube. Great reviews all around. Honestly, just at the end of the day, make sure you see it. If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on whether or not you've seen this film and what you think, or if you haven't seen this film, will you be seeing it? I'd like to think so. And if you've got anything you want to say about your experience with this film, please let me know because I'm really eager to know. But thank you so much for watching. That's my thoughts. 5 out of 5. It's just great. Make sure you like the video and subscribe if you want to support the channel and see future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.